I'm Tyler Bronski. I'm with Aaron Laffey, veteran starter in the major leagues and now currently with the Somerset Patriots. So, Aaron, you played for a ton of teams in your career, but I think fans might best remember you from your time with the Cleveland Indians. You're with that team from 2007 to 2010, and your first year in the big leagues with the Indians in 2007, the team made the playoffs, and you guys went to the ALCS against the Red Sox. That was kind of a wild series between those two teams. A lot of runs scored. I believe 83 runs scored between both teams. So you guys were up in the series 3-1. Kind of slowly, the Red Sox crept in and took the series from you guys. So from a player's perspective, what do you remember from that playoffs against the Red Sox and what the team was feeling being up 3-1 and kind of giving up that lead, and just what your experience was when you pitched in the game in Game 6 of that series?
I mean, it was just kind of a whirlwind for me. I just came up in August. August 4th was my debut that season, so it was my rookie year. And then just kind of being in awe of kind of everything that's happening, and just getting to the big leagues and being on the best team in baseball. We had the best record that year. So we, going through the playoffs, I just kind of really sat there most of the playoffs, so I got up once, and I think it was Game 4 against the Yankees. I got up in the pen to warm up because Birdie got in a little bit of a jam, got himself out of it, and went on to pitch a great game, and we won and took that series. Then going into the series against Boston, it was just crazy. It was like before the game they had a band playing live on the field, and just the atmosphere, and it was just such a buzz in the place, and having the opportunity to get a chance to pitch in one of the games and be able to perform well, after having, I think I had like 23 days off in between games pitching, but it was just a whirlwind atmosphere, and going into 3-1 and having that big lead, and you just kind of, after it got to 3-2, there was, looking back, there was a little bit of a feel, a change in the atmosphere kind of in our clubhouse, because they had, a couple years earlier, had just completed the first 3-0 comeback in the history of baseball. So, there was always that, out there, and, the way the media hypes everything up. And so just looking back on the experience, I mean, just incredibly blessed to just have that opportunity, not only just to play in the big leagues, but to come up as a rookie, pitch well, be on the playoff roster. Just the whole experience was something I'll never forget. I mean, I faced in Game 6, the first hitter I faced was Ortiz, and I punched him out on 3 pitches. It was just like, did that really just happen? At the time you're just kind of like in the middle of it and just kind of soaking it all in, but then you get in the game and the crowd's sold out, and really into the game, because that's they were up big when I came in the game, so, and they evened the series in that Game 6. So, but it was just a crazy atmosphere, and just thankful that I had the opportunity to be able to do and experience it, and just being able to still have the opportunity to be playing now. At this point, that was 07, and it's 17 now. So it's just crazy to think that was that long ago.
Definitely awesome story, awesome experience. We're currently in Bridgeport, Connecticut, only about like an hour or so out from New York City. There's 2 major teams in New York City, and you've had the pleasure of playing for both of those teams, the Yankees and the Mets. So I want to ask you about those teams a little bit. We'll start with the Yankees. I know you played for them in 2011 a little bit, playing with some of the guys like Jeter, Mariano, A-Rod, Sabathia, just like a ton of great players. So can you speak on what that meant to you to put on the pinstripes and just play with some of the best?
I mean, it was just a crazy year all around. 11, I had a great year up until the All-Star break, and then I kind of had a couple bad outings that kind of inflated my numbers. But overall, on the whole, in the year, best year I've ever pitched in the big leagues. I was in the bullpen the whole season. But it was a whirlwind of emotions going to New York, because I got designated by Seattle, and that was the first time I'd ever been designated. And you just have that unknown. You don't know if you're going to get picked up. You don't know if you're going to get outrighted, all the things that can happen. And then to come to find out that I got claimed by the Yankees, and the Yankees in the middle of the playoff hunt, it was just crazy because I grew up a Yankee fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a big time, like Don Mattingly's my all-time favorite Yankee, and still the poster of him is still up on the wall in my parents' house, and I had pinstripe wallpaper, like, so I was like diehard. And the first time and only time I ever went to Yankee Stadium before actually being there, I was a junior in high school, and went to see, and Paul O'Neill was in right, and Bernie Williams center, and Jeter's the shortstop, and it was just crazy to have that opportunity to having that unknown, and then finding out I got claimed by my childhood team. A wave of emotions hit me, and then walking into that clubhouse. At the time I had about 3 years. It was 2011, I made my debut in 7, so I had some decent amount of time in the big leagues. But you walk into that clubhouse and everybody's got 10, 12, 15 years in the big leagues. You feel like a rookie all over again. It was crazy to just have that feeling of like, wow, like I'm playing for the New York Yankees. Like, and it really didn't hit me till later, and really come to full appreciate and be grateful for that until I really kind of refound my faith, and that wasn't really appreciative of it then as much as I am now. Having the opportunity I sat next to Jeter every day the month of September, and just getting the chance to just talk to him and get to know him as a person was just really cool. My sister was a big Jeter fan, so I texted her right away. I was like, hey, guess who my locker is next to? So it was like, it was just, again, just kind of like, a dream come true. You dream about playing for your childhood team, and I had the opportunity to do it, and then have the opportunity to play for both teams too. I don't think there's been a whole lot of guys to have that chance to play for both New York teams. So it's just been, again, just extremely blessed and thankful.
Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, let's talk about like the Mets a little bit. I know your stay with them was pretty brief in 2013, 4 games with them, but to make the Mets fans that are watching this video happy, can you just talk about what you remember, like some of the highlights from your time with the Mets, and just like your overall thoughts on playing in New York City, the best city in the United States? So just like speak on that a little bit.
I mean, it's a culture shock for me. I'm from a small town in Western Maryland. I live in West Virginia now, just a step across the state line from Maryland, and just coming from a small town, we had like 17,000, 18,000 people. Like the town I live in now has a couple thousand. Like, so it's just like just a total culture shock, and it's just the hustle and bustle of the city. It just brings about excitement, and like the passion of the fans, the passion for their sports teams, in both stadiums. The fans love the team, they love the game, they know what's going on. They're engaged at all times. There's never an instance in either stadium there in New York where it's like quiet or dull. There's a constant buzz. There's a constant, kind of pressing feeling, and kind of the one of the biggest things was like the media to me, because I came from playing in Cleveland and playing in Seattle, and both those places don't have a ton of media following. They're in the smaller markets. So when I got to New York, and it was like, all of a sudden there's 45 media members in the clubhouse, with the Yankees, and then with the Mets it's almost the same. It's like, oh wow, like no wonder there's like, they know everything. You got to like really like be on top of your game, make sure you like staying in line and not stepping out of it. But it was a crazy experience, just like I said, it was like more of a culture shock than anything. And having the opportunity to play in like these smaller markets and not really be exposed to that, except for just making a trip for 3 days into the city. And I love both stadiums. I mean, they're incredible ballparks, and a lot of time and love and money went into those stadiums, but they create such an awesome atmosphere for the fans, and just people who get the chance to go to that stadium all the time are really lucky to have such an impressive thing to go to watch a ball game. And it's more than a game.
Absolutely. The final Major League team I wanted to ask you about specifically is actually the team you played for last year, the Washington Nationals. You went to spring training with them and spent that season at AAA with Syracuse. The Nationals over the years have kind of been like a consistent member in the playoffs. They've created that winning tradition. So what was your perspective of the Nationals organization, how they run things, how they just work with the players to create that winning vibe? And you had a good year at AAA with them, but you didn't get the call-up. So what was your sense on maybe getting that call up last year? Like, how did you feel about maybe playing the majors with them?
I mean, I know for me specifically, there's going to be kind of like a specialized role for me to fulfill. You know, I'm 32 now. This is my 15th season. You know, I'm not a hard thrower, which is a big thing now. Is, you know, a lot of it's turned to velocity. But you know, I know it's going to be with whatever team it is, the opportunity that comes along. It's going to be, you know, luck, timing, opportunity, you know, and performing all at the same time. And you know, I had a great spring with them. I had a lot of positive things came back from Dusty Baker and Mike Maddox about just my stuff and my ability to pitch, and which gave me a confidence boost. Hearing it from those guys who've been around the game a lot, who have seen everybody in the game, especially, you know, Dusty's been around, you know, in the big leagues forever, not only as a player but as a manager, and, you know, managing, you know, winning ball clubs. And I think he's going to be kind of like that difference maker. You know, like he just makes the players in his clubhouse better just by the way he approaches the game, the way he handles players, he handles the media, he takes up for his player. I mean, so it was just a great experience to be just there for all spring training and be around that guys. And I can't say enough about the group of the guys that are there, not only the big league guys, but the young guys that are like coming up and kind of bouncing back and forth. I spent 2 out of the last 3 seasons with them, and on the minor league standpoint side of things, I mean, their front office and everything, they're straight up, they're honest, they're upfront. You know, they tell you exactly how they feel. If you ask them a specific question about your path or, you know, your opportunity, your chances in that, I mean, they don't sugarcoat things, and which is, for me, that's what I want. You know, I don't want to be told, because it's happened in the past. You know, I've been told one thing and the opposite happens, or they lead on to something, or they say they, you know, said something and then something else, you know, doesn't happen. So, you know, all that stuff, you know, there's no lost in translation with the Nationals. It's straight up front, and that's how it should be. You know, with a industry such as this, and you know how you know, it's all performance based, and it's all about, you know, timing, and it's all about opportunity. You know, a little bit of luck never hurt anybody.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so and it goes with anything in life. So, you know, everybody makes a comparison of between, you know, how life is in the game of baseball and the ups and downs and this, that, the other. And I think it's just one of those things where the more honest you can be with somebody, you know, and the more upfront in a respectful, you know, caring way, which is, I think, the biggest thing with the Nationals is they really care about you, you know, not just as a player but as a person, and I think that makes all the difference in the world.
Most definitely. Well, now currently you're with the Somerset Patriots in the Atlantic League. Your first year in independent baseball. I think sometimes when fans think of independent baseball, they think of the worst, to be honest with you. But I mean, you look at your team with the Patriots, the Bluefish team you guys played against today. There's a lot of big league guys on both teams, a lot of talent. So from your perspective, what are you seeing from the town level in this league and just your first run through in the Atlantic League?
Yeah, when I was younger, I would always say, like, if it resorted down to me having to go to independent ball, then that would be it. But seeing as this league has progressed over the last like 5 or 6 years, and the way the game has changed on the organizational side, you know, the way things, you know, have switched on that end as well. I mean, on this field today, between the two teams, there's over 20 guys that have played in the major leagues, and for not just short stints, not a cup of coffee. Yeah. You know, guys have played in the playoffs, guys have hit 300 in the big leagues. You know, guys have started almost a whole season as a starting pitcher. Guys have been in the back end of the bullpen in the big leagues. Like, so it's crazy. You know, I was expecting to be maybe 5 or 6 guys like per team. You know, with big league time, like. I mean, this Bridgeport team, there's, I think, 13 guys on their roster that have been to the big leagues. There's on our roster, there's 10. You know, so there's, you know, and then we just left. You know, York had like 8 or 10. You know, so it's just crazy how many guys are in this league. You know, that have played in the big leagues, and the quality of the ability of the players here, the length of the careers. You know, there's. You know, on our team alone, you got, you know, hundreds of years of baseball experience, you know, and then throughout the entire league. It's an incredible league. It's a great place, and the way the game has switched organizationally on the affiliated ball side, I think that, you know, has made this league even better. because now you have veteran guys like myself and other guys and position players in different situations that, teams aren't really giving guys like us invites to spring training and all those things, because they know who you are. You've been around a long time. Your scouting report's probably not going to change much. You're a consistent, reliable person, except they bring in these different guys for spring training to give them a look, but then they come to this league before anywhere else, to fulfill their needs, at the AAA level earlier on in the season, which, and there's been numerous guys in the last 2-3 years who start the year in this league and go back in the organizational ball, a little bit of time at AAA, and they're back in the big leagues, so this has definitely been a great experience for me. It's some of the most fun I've ever had playing. Our team is awesome. I mean, it's incredible. We just have fun. We keep it loose, and with the coaching staff, they're amazing. They treat you like grown men who know what to do. You take care of what you got to do. You be respectful of each other, and just have fun and always encourage each other. And that's been the biggest thing. Is there's a lot of positivity here on the Somerset team, and just always pulling for the next guy. And everyone's trying to get out of here. Nobody wants to be in this league. Everybody's trying to move on and get out of here. But the team that we have here it's each person, pushing one another, talking to one another, helping one another, and there's just so many conversations just during the course of the game where, you'll see us in the dugout here and we're just laughing and having a good time. We might be down 4 runs, but we're laughing, having a good time, keeping things loose, and then all of a sudden it's a tie game, and all of a sudden we're up by 1 or 2, so it's just like, and it starts with the coaching staff. They create that environment, and it just breeds and just kind of tag on and catch on to that, and it just kind of spreads throughout. And it's the same way with negativity. Negativity would do the same thing, but we have a great group of guys here, and it'd be really tough to find any negative things to say about this place.
Absolutely. Final question for you, Aaron. You've touched on this a little bit, but I know your faith and your beliefs are really important to you, really strong. So how has your faith impacted your professional career and maybe some of the decisions you've had to make throughout it? And how have you adjusted or not adjusted to teammates that don't share the same beliefs or ethical standards as you?
It was crazy because after 2013, which was my worst statistical season of my career, my sister almost passed away in March of that year. I had to leave spring training with the Mets and fly to the Inova Heart Institute in Virginia for her, and she was in a medically induced coma. It was bad, and but regardless of all that, like, God was my baseball was my God, So like I had to die to that to be able to, put God where He needs to be, which is number one, and so that was the main thing is just realizing and coming to the thing that, like, I can't do this on my own. Like, I'm struggling making the right decision where to play, who to, well, this team has this guy, and then the opportunity, and I was just fed up with that, and I was looking other places for different things, and just going the wrong route, and just going all these avenues that were unfulfilling, and finally, and luckily I had the foundations instilled in me by my parents that I did go to church and Sunday school and that stuff growing up, and it didn't have pretty much any importance to me once I got a little older, and just never really gave praise and glory to God for the things that I've been able to do until I was like almost out of the game, until I had everything kind of, I said to you before we started this is, God can't do certain things in your life if you're still holding on to things He wants you to let go of. And if once you come to that and realize, like, man, I can't do this on my own. I need something that's better than me, that's better than a substance, that's better than success or money and performance. My blessings and my grace isn't based upon performance. It's upon just trusting and believing and having faith that God has the best plan for me. I don't. So once I came to that and I finally just conceded and was like, God, take it, because I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to try to make the decisions. I don't want to, in all things in prayer and 14 and spring training, I just decided that was it, and I got down on my hands and knees and said, God, this is it, like that Carrie Underwood song, Jesus, take the wheel, like, I'm done, man. Like, so, and once I've done that, I've been able to enjoy the game. I was, pretty, conceited and cocky, coming up through. I got to the big leagues at 22 and achieved some awesome things, and I always felt it was me, like I did it. I did this, I deserve this, and if I really got what I deserved, I wouldn't be in a good place. So once I, let go of those things and died to the game of baseball and put God in his rightful place as number one in my life, and just develop that relationship through prayer and through reading the Word every day with Jesus, and develop that relationship with Jesus. And I've been able to, accept things, that I couldn't accept before, and been able to, push certain things aside, and been able to control, stay within the things I can control, and just have faith that, God's going to work things out for me the way that He wants them to be done, and to follow His path and His will for my life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Aaron. Just want to wish you the best of luck this season with Somerset, and hopefully your team picks you up and you'll get that chance again back in the major leagues. So appreciate it. Thank you.